Good morning, everyone. Once again, it is my privilege and my honor to be in the zone with no less than the founder of the QI Group, the lead bird of the V, a world-renowned speaker, my mentor and my friend, Dato Vijay Eswaran. Good morning, Dato.
Morning. I just want to say to all the listeners out there, as this is the month, Eid Mubarak and Slamat Hari Raya to everyone.
Thank you very much. Dato, for our very first question, I've heard you a couple of times on stage, VCon stage, say that not a big percentage of people in business actually succeed. Yet you qualify by adding that if you work hard and if you do not quit, you will eventually succeed. I would like you to expound on the value of hard work, especially in relation to our business.
Well, let me begin by saying that I regard every IR, everyone who joins the business, as an entrepreneur and on equal footing with anyone who starts a traditional business anywhere in the world. If one were to go to the Bureau of Statistics, i.e. in the United States or the UK, Australia, whatsoever, where they have some very complete, complex records of businesses, it is astounding to discover that at the end of 12 months, 95% of all the businesses that begin fail. So this is like, 5% success rate. And if one were to take a look at the end of 5 years, it is 1% roughly. So in essence, most of the businesses that open up anywhere in the world, being running a hot dog stand or courier service or whatever else, secretarial services, anything that you try, the florist, whatever, your chances of survival are that slim.
1%.
It is. 5-year rate. Okay. Having said that, businesses still flourish. People still keep on trying. I mean, it may not be the first florist that you open, it may be the 5th one that you open that makes money. It may not be the first news agency that you open, it may be the 7th or 8th one. But the whole objective is to recognize that you need to keep on trying. Let's take a look at the statistics within our industry. Within our industry itself, the statistics are not great. But I would like to say the comparison needs to be on a oranges to oranges basis, or apples to apples. So if you say apples to apples, and if you consider every one of our IRs as an entrepreneur, we have about 20 to 25 times higher rate of survival than those in traditional businesses. Because the chances of our IRs making it are at least 1 in 4, which is roughly 20 to 25%. But the thing that I would like to say to everyone listening out there right now is that everyone can make it. The process requires you to go through, an entire pathway. Now, if one were to recognize this as the pathway, i.e. here's where I started, to know and understand about the business, and here's where I become successful. This pathway has to be traveled. Now, some people actually join us somewhere around here, having already gone through multiple businesses along the way. They have started and failed and tried and succeeded and dropped in many other, endeavors. So by the time they come here, they've got this much experience behind them. To complete this is much easier for them. But then for others who are starting at the very onset again, no experience whatsoever, this pathway has to be traveled. Because the learning is internal. It is the experience that you garner that's most important. Business is very unique in a sense. You cannot learn it in university. Entrepreneurship cannot be taught in any university in the world. If it was possible for entrepreneurship to be taught, then the lecturers should all be billionaires.
True.
All right? But then if you take a look at most of the professors of finance or business in the world, they are all driving a Honda Cup to work, a Honda Civic to work. They're surviving on mere salaries because they don't know how to make it work. They can discuss it, but they have no experiential, training behind it. And business and entrepreneurship is an experiential process. You have to experience it. You cannot academically learn it.
Inversely, Dato, is that the reason why some of the most successful billionaires out there are actually dropouts from school?
Exactly. Clear case in point. You see, because actually the whole process, I'm not discounting academics. I'm not discounting university education. I think it has its value, it has its place, and it's a good platform to begin with. But it does not replace that exponential pathway, that exponential journey that leads to success. And for everyone, this pathway is different. So what is, I think, missing out there is this understanding. Yes, you have joined. Yes, it can be achieved. And you have probably more of a support system within our ecosystem of networking, where you have mentoring, guidance, you have literature to fall back on, and you have an entire company with its entire framework and infrastructure to support you in being an entrepreneur. Yes, within all of that support system, you have a better chance of surviving than going out there in the real world and being an entrepreneur all by yourself. Traditional business is always going to be 20 times more difficult.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Dato Sri. Another thing that I've noticed is that over recent years, especially with the advent of technology, especially the internet, there have been a lot of overnight millionaires, even billionaires, okay? Because of this, a lot of people have begun to think that they can make money very quickly, okay? And they have somehow lost this belief that they could do it through hard work. What is it we can do, Dato Sri, to instill maybe even our kids, our children, the value of hard work?
There is no replacement for hard work. But let me first begin by this concept of instant millionaires. Is it possible to make money overnight? Yes. It can be the worst curse that you have ever had. You know, I remember listening one time to arguably one of the richest men in the world at the time. And without just ad-libbing what he said, the worst curse that you could have is to inherit $1 million or be given $1 million or to win it in a lottery. Because then you have not paid the price of having earned it, having actually acquired it, and therefore, because you did not pay the price, you will not defend it to death. So in other words, to earn $1 million is one thing, to keep it is another thing. So to these people who actually inherit the money, have it dropped on their lap, so to speak, it will be amazing the rate at which it would just disappear. Keeping $1 million actually is far more difficult than earning it. So the process of earning it is one thing, learning to keep it is another thing. This entire process of entrepreneurship requires you to acquire both these skills. 1, earn it; 2, keep it; 3, multiply it. So it is a 3-stage process that one has to acquire, and this cannot be taught in university.
Okay, but Dato Sri, how do you make the younger generation, especially the millennials, for example, now believe that it can actually be done through hard work? Because many of them want to just get rich overnight.
It's like the kids who stand on the edge of the sea watching the surfers. I used to watch people who go out there to surf. Okay. Are you with me? And it looks so incredibly easy. True. Ice skating looks incredibly easy. I remember seeing it the first time, and I happily put on my first pair of ice skates and went out onto the ice. And the only thing that I remember out of that episode is hitting the ice very hard. Every single time, I didn't last 2 seconds, The maximum was after about having, say, fallen about 25, 30 times. I lasted 5.5 seconds in a row, and wow, it was great. So this is an important thing to learn. Whether you want to be an ice skater or a skier or a surfer, there is no shortcut. There is absolutely no shortcut. One of the things that all of us can actually relate to is driving. When we sit behind the car for the first time, it's amazing the number of things we have to remember to do. Are you with me? But having done it day in, day out, having had a few bumps and fender benders and scrapes here and there, which is inevitable. I don't know anyone who drives or who is driving today who's never had a scrape. All right, so a little bump, fender, bender, all of these things are part of the learning process. But having gone through that successfully and having earned that experience, that's when you learn to drive. And when you learn to drive at one point, 5 years down the road, you're listening to music, at one hand, speaking to someone on the other hand, watching the view on the other side, and all of it in your stride. But it looks easy. Hard work is the only way to get there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dato Sri. I did learn today that it is only through hard work, determination, and perseverance that one becomes successful, and that there is no shortcut. Is that correct, Dato Sri?
To put it in one phrase, I would say nothing worthwhile in life is ever easy.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Dato Sri. I did learn something new today, and I hope that you guys learned something new and enjoyed it as much as I did. Look forward to the next episode of In the Zone. Thank you very much, Dato Sri. Thank you.